Hello and good morning friends, welcome to CEC-UGC live lecture. Dear friends, this is the first lecture in the series and the series is on artificial intelligence. We would be learning what basically artificial intelligence is, and for this we have again with us in our studios Dr. U.S. Pandey. Dr. Pandey is Associate Professor in School of Open Learning, Delhi University. As well as I would like to tell you all that he is supervising lots of research scholars in the field of mobile commerce, artificial intelligence, expert system, e-learning, e-governance. Dr. Pandey has authored 2 books, as well as he has written various research papers both at the national as well as international level. So taking advantage from his experience, I hope that today we would be learning through him what basically artificial intelligence is. So first of all, I would like to welcome our guest Dr. Pandey. Dr. Pandey, EduSet lecture is welcoming you once again.
Okay, let's start. Artificial intelligence. What is this artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence, computers with the ability to mimic or duplicate the function of the human brain. Artificial intelligence system is the people, procedure, hardware, software, data and knowledge needed to develop computer systems and machines that demonstrate the characteristics of the intelligence. Overview of artificial intelligence. The major view is intelligent behavior. Learn from the experience, apply knowledge acquired from experience, handle complex situations, solve problems when important information is missing, determine what is important, react quickly and correctly to a new situation, understand visual images, process and manipulate symbols, be creative and imaginative, use heuristic. A brief history of artificial intelligence. Although artificial intelligence as an independent field of study is relatively new, it has some roots in the past. We can say that it started in 2400 years ago when the Greek philosopher Aristotle invented the concept of logical reasoning. The effort to finalize the language of logic continued with the Leibniz and Newton. George Boole developed Boolean algebra in the 19th century that laid the foundation of computer circuits. However, the main idea of a thinking machine came from Alan Turing, who proposed the Turing test. The term artificial intelligence was first coined by John McCarthy in 1956. Why artificial intelligence? AI can have 2 purposes. One is to use the power of computers to augment human thinking. Just as we use motors to augment human or horsepower, robotics and expert systems are major branches of that. The other is to use a computer artificial intelligence to understand how human thinks. In a humanoid way, if you test your programs not merely by what they can accomplish, but how they accomplish it. you are really doing cognitive science. You are using AI to understand the human mind. These words are said by Herb Simon. Why study artificial intelligence? Here you can see the artificial intelligence is an area which is going to be used almost every year now. You can see we can generate the robotics in a form of labor. It could be in a form of a trainer. It could do the different kind of machine activity. In the science, artificial intelligence are playing a very important role to develop different kind of activities, different kind of machine. You can see in the picture where the robots have been shown to you. You can see the different kind, the Mangalyaan and other kind of things which is going to be controlled through the artificial intelligence. Different kind of search engines, they are playing very important role in going to do medicine and diagnosis. Different kind of expert systems are playing an important role, and different kind of appliances are being developed. You know, this artificial intelligence is playing a very important role in overall development. In application areas, take an area game playing. Much of the early research in the state space search was done using common board games such as checkers, chess and 15 puzzles. Games can generate extremely large search spaces. These are large and complex enough to require powerful techniques for determining what alternative to explore. Automated reasoning and theorem proving. Theorem proving is one of the most fruitful branch of the field. Theorem proving research was responsible in formalizing search algorithms and developing formal representation languages such as predicate calculus and a logic programming language. Expert system. One major insight gain from early work in problem solving was the importance of domain specific knowledge. Expert system is a combination of a theoretical understanding of a problem and a collection of heuristic problem solving rules. In expert system, the current deficiencies are lack of flexibility. If human cannot answer a question immediately, he can return to an examination of first principle and come up with something. Inability to provide deep explanation. Little learning from experience. Expert system can explain their reasoning or suggestion decisions. Display intelligent behavior. Draw conclusion from complex relationship. Provide portable knowledge. Expert system cell, a collection of software packages and tools used to develop expert system. The limitation of expert system, not widely used or tested, limited to a relatively narrow problem, cannot readily deal with the mixed knowledge, possibility of error. It cannot refine own knowledge base, difficult to maintain, may have high development cost, raise legal and ethical concerns. But the capabilities of the expert system, you can see here the strategic goal setting, planning, design, decision making, quality and monitoring, diagnosis. This explore impact of strategic goals, impact of plan on resources, integrate general decision principles and manufacturing limitations, provide advice on decisions, monitor quality and assist in finding solutions, look for causes and suggest solutions. When we use an expert system, it provides a high potential payoff or significantly reduced downside risk. Capture and preserve irreplaceably human expertise. Provide expertise needed at a number of locations at the same time or in a hostile environment that is dangerous to human health. Provide expertise that is expensive or rare. Develop a solution faster than human expert can. Provide expertise needed for training and development to share the wisdom of human experts with a large number of people. Components of an expert system. Knowledge base stores all relevant information, data, rules, cases and relationship used by the expert system. Inference engine seeks information and relationship from the knowledge base and provides answers, predictions and suggestions in the way a human expert do. Rule, a conditional statement that links given conditions to actions or outcomes. Fuzzy logic, a especially research area in computer science that allow shades of grey does not require everything to be simply yes or no or true or false. Backward chaining, a method of reasoning that starts with a conclusion and works backward to supporting facts. Forward chaining, a method of reasoning that starts with the facts and works forwarded to a conclusion. You can see here the explanation facility, inference engine, knowledge base acquisition facility, user interface, experts and user. You can just imagine the expert system is technically a machine, but it works. Just imagine that a doctor is expert in a particular area. What is happening if you put the 15 doctor or more experts in that particular area at one place? Are the rules, the knowledge of those expert is going to put at one place, and after that if you make a kind of diagnosis, definitely that diagnosis is going to be more accurate than the one expert. Another important factor of the expert system, just imagine in the same case a human, as you know, is going to be tired after seeing a limited number of patients, but a machine is not having this kind of problem. In other words, machine can see a large number of patients in a day. So, the more expertise it will gain, which will provide the better diagnosis to those patients. There are many expert systems are available in almost every area. Take example, maybe you have listened about the Maxama is a compute expert system in the mathematics. which have solutions for different differential equation of in the mathematics whose solutions are technically not possible. Why? Because these expert systems have a knowledge acquisitions of different mathematician, their rules and their different cases have been discussed. So, when that computer is going to make any kind of diagnosis or the solution or putting any kind of suggestion, it will take the help of all the previous cases which have been discussed. So, these systems are playing very important role because they have the knowledge acquisition from different expert of that particular field, and based on that they are interacting with the users, providing them the facilities and all. Rules for credit application. You can see just a simple application. If I just use the export system, suppose a mortgage application for a loan of this $1,000 is going to be there. We can just make some queries if there are no previous credit problems, and if a month net income is greater than 4x month loan payment, and if a down payment is 15% of total value of property, the net income of borrower is greater than a particular amount, and if employment is greater than a particular number of years. So, on the basis of export system, it will automatically say that whether this application is going to be accepted, and else check the other credit issues. So, somewhere these export systems are playing a very important role to making a smaller solutions also. Explanation facility. A part of expert system that allows a user or decision maker to understand how the expert system arrived at a certain conclusion or results, as we have just discussed now, because these systems are providing you the solution based on the rules. So, they will tell you exactly what are the rules behind making that kind of solution. Knowledge acquisition facility provides a convenient and efficient means of capturing and storing all component of knowledge base. You can see here a knowledge base is there, knowledge acquisition facility is there, and expert is going to be there. Expert system development, determining the requirements, identifying experts, construct expert system components, implementing results, maintaining and reviewing system. The domain, the area of knowledge expressed by the express system. Participant in the expert systems development and use. Domain expert, the individual or group whose expertise and knowledge is captured for the use in an expert system. Knowledge users, the individual or a group who uses the benefits from the expert systems. Knowledge engineer, someone trained or experienced in the design, development, implementation and maintenance of an expert system. It is just like that if you are developing any expert system in the mathematics, so naturally a person who is having a knowledge of mathematics, beside that he wants to capture the rules or the other activities by the mathematician, especially of those particular mathematical area. So, he will capture the rules and store the knowledge as per the proper requirements and fulfill all things. Only those knowledgeable persons can handle these things easily. Now, you can see the expert system here, a domain expert, knowledge engineer and a knowledge user. Evolution of expert system software. Expert system cell, collection of software packages and tools to design, develop, implement and maintain expert system. You can see here is end of use is before 1980s traditional programming languages are there. In 80s after that special 4th generation languages have been 4GLs and all have been used, and 19 and above expert system cells are being used. Another very important area of artificial intelligence is NLL, that we call natural language understanding and semantics. One of the long standing goal of artificial intelligence in the creation of programming are that are capable of understanding and generating human language. Modeling human performance, capture the human mind, that is knowledge representation. Other very important area of this artificial intelligence is robotics, which is maximum in use in almost many mechanical and different kind of training activities. These robots are being in use. A robot that blindly performs a sequence of actions without responding to change or being able to detect and correct errors could hardly considered intelligent. It should have some degree of sensors and algorithms to kill it. Machine learning. Learning has remained a challenge area in artificial intelligence. An expert system may perform extensive and costly computation to solve a problem. Unlike human, it usually do not remember the solution. Decision tree example. Here you can see the decision tree examples are going to be there. Age, it's divide this in student and credit rating, middle aged students are also they are going to be there in no and youth and senior. So, different kind of rules can be framed by using this. Alternative representations, neural network, genetic algorithms, these are the main areas where a lot of work is going on. You can see here in the human brain, dendrites, cell body, axons, and there the directions of the messages, axons terminate the synapses with the dendrites on target cell. Thinking machines. Can you list the items in the picture? The different kind of the machines is going to be the area in that. Here humans do best, computers do best. So, lot of the activities can be performed by the machines itself, where the human knowledge is going to be do a little bit. Thinking machines, the study of computer systems that attempt to model and apply the intelligence of human mind. For example, writing a program to pick out objects in a picture. The Turing test, a test of empirically determine whether a computer has achieved intelligence. Now, this is very important that Alan Turing, an English mathematician who wrote a landmark paper in 1950 that asked the question, can machine think? He proposed a test to answer the question, how will we know when we have succeeded? Turing test. 3 rooms contains a person, a computer and an interrogator. The interrogator can communicate with the other 2 by teleprinter. The interrogator tries to determine which is the person and which is the machine. The machine tries to fool the interrogator into believing that it is the person. If the machine succeeds, then we conclude that the machine can think. Turing test. Here you can see the interrogator, respondent. In a Turing test, the interrogated must determine which respondent is the computer and which is the human. The Turing test, weak equivalence. Two systems, human and computer, are equivalent in results, output, but they do not arrive at those results in the same way. A strong equivalence. Two systems, human and computers, use the same internal processes to produce results. The Turing test, Loebner Prize, the first formal installation of the Turing test held annually. You know, Turing award is the most prestigious award in the area of computer science. Chatbot, a program designed to carry on a conversation with the human user. Knowledge representation. How can we represent knowledge? We need to create a logical view of data based on how we want to process it. Natural language is a very descriptive, but does not lend itself to efficient processing. Semantic networks and search trees are promising techniques for representing knowledge. Semantic network. A knowledge representation technique that focuses on the relationship between objects. A direct graph is used to represent a semantic network or net. Here you can see that the semantic networks, how it is working. Here iCluder has a person is a student ID number, some student John, Mary, and different kind of networks have been put here, dormitory and some number have been allotted, heritage scores and apartment at complex, male, female, gender, and each and is going to be networked among all. Semantic network, what questions can you ask about the data in the figure, the previous slide? What questions can you not ask? The network design. The objects in the network represent the object in the real world that we are representing. The relationship that we represent are based on the real world questions that we would like to ask. That is, the type of relationship represented determine which questions are easily answered, which are more difficult to answer, and which cannot be answered. Search trees, a structure that represented the alternative in adversarial situations such as game playing. Now, you may be knowing very well that different kind of mind games are there, where the artificial intelligence is also playing an important role. I'll take a simple example of chess playing. You know that a lot of games are going to be there which you are playing on the computer and computer is playing with you. So, you can imagine different certain rules, certain programs which have been given there. If you play one place, they are playing the another important role and they are somehow suggesting you to play in which way. The path down a search tree represent a series of decisions made by players. Here you can see that the search trees are going to be there. Different players are there, player 1 and player 2. They are playing the game and somewhere a different kind of suggestions are being given to help them how they can win the game, what are the best way to play, that things are going to be there. A search tree for simplified version of this same. Now, search trees analysis can be applied to other more complicated games such as chess, as we have just given example. However, full analysis of the chess search tree would take more than your lifetime to determine the first move, because these trees are so large, only a fraction of tree can be analyzed in a reasonable time limit. Even with modern computing power. Therefore, we must find a way to prune the tree. Search trees, techniques for pruning the search places. Depth first, a technique that involves searching down the path of a tree prior to searching across levels. Breadth first, a technique that involves searching across level of a tree prior to searching down specific paths. Breadth first tends to yield the best results. You can see the example of the depth first search, and here you can see the another example of the breadth first search. So, there are different techniques, such trees have been made, and these things are going to be very much used in the area of game planning and all. So, this is thank you about all these. So, we will
with this note, thank you sir, thank you so very much for explaining us in detail what basically artificial intelligence is. But going apart from the technical terms, if we want to explain artificial intelligence to a common man, how will we describe artificial intelligence?
Very rightly you asked, Geetika, exactly what artificial in basic meaning exactly. You just say there is a way of thinking of a mind. So, we have to just think, because this is a term of basically not computer science, as we will say, this is a terminology of psychology, how a mind functions. Now, imagine just we are discussing from every step our mind is having something in our mind to take a kind of result, to take a kind of decisions. Now, just imagine, just think over it, how you are getting all these things being done. What we are thinking is that if your functioning of mind can be built somewhere in the machine, in terminology that we call artificial intelligence, that the intelligence that in the functioning of your mind, the experience, or you can different kind of activities can be put in a machine, somehow that is going to be basically a use of artificial intelligence. In simple terminology, in Hindi we call kritim dimag. The mind is that the functioning of mind is going to be stored some way, although it is very difficult, as we have just mentioned some of the rules and some of the things, we are talking this terminology in the different area, different kind of export systems are there, different kind of machines are going to be there, different robotics are there, everything is there, but just see, it is functioning of mind is very difficult to be put each and everything in the mind. I have just taken an example, if you remember, regarding the one export system, especially in the area of medical science. There are many export systems are there. There are many of them are controlling. Maybe you have listened about that the medical system, lot of export system are controlling the medical operations from abroad, which is going to be held in India, and they are taking care of each and everything. So what I mean to say is the all kind of a function of a medical expert, a surgeon, is fit into the computer system, and the computer is taking the decision based on that. So you can imagine it's a tedious process, but the rules are the case studies, the knowledge of an expert is stored at one place, and we are just being utilizing. So basically is one of the example, lot of area is going to be there where these computers are going to be made to work as an artificial intelligence is going to be used as a tool to develop these kind of things.
Thus we can say that with the advent of the computers or with the advent of the technology, there was a saying that now computers have replaced the humans. Now less of the manpower would be required because computers are going to do the maximum work.
In one way you can say, Geetika, in some areas, not in all. For example, very rightly point out, this is a question which is very debatable also, but the thing is that, as I mentioned, the capability of mind and thinking about machine is entirely two different. I can give just a very small example to you. Imagine we can develop a big computers. We have given example of chess game also. We do have an export system of that, but mind, when you are playing a game, the functions, different kind of functions are the thinking which is happening in our mind. A simplest player, computer will take too much time to take that particular decision and just to writing all. Another example I am just giving, the functioning of mind. Just imagine you have your ear, and just by ear, if you have a different sounds of a different musical instruments, your ear will not take a second just to recognize which one is the violin, which is a different kind of flute, which was a different kind of devices. Imagine just to develop the computer of that kind of capability take much more. Thousands computer may not be able to do that thing very easily. So some of the areas where definitely these machines are playing an important role. Take example, you know, maybe knowing that automobile industries are there. They are using robotics in a much more big way, because the mans are not going to be used in that way, because machines are playing an important role to check step by step activities. You can take in India also, almost every automobile industries are using this robotics in their manufacturing their cars, or you can say motorcycles, or you can take in a big vehicles, because this machine can do these things in a better way. In the different part, as I mentioned, in the training part, now robots are going to be used even in the training also, to train the robots also. So these kind of things are happening, but I can't say at the moment that these machines will reduce, or the purpose of the humans are being neglected there.
But one thing is for sure from your lecture, as you have yourself pointed out, that we cannot predict that whether they have replaced human beings or not. But yes, human mind is so fast that we need such machines that could compete human brain.
You are very rightly again I am putting, Geetika, I mean somewhere it is playing an important. I have given example just recently in this. As I mentioned, there are many export systems. I am just concluding there in abroad, in many big hospitals, they do have an export system. I am just simply talking in that. Suppose you have, there are different kind of fever is there in the, different kind of disease are there in the market. What is happening, if you go to a general doctor, maybe that he is very expert in the latest activities, If you go and just so maybe he is not able to diagnose with the latest kind of symptoms being generated or other kind of activity. But if you develop an expert system, because that expert system is especially designed for that purpose, and it is containing the knowledge of different medical expert of that particular area. So definitely that diagnosis made by that expert system is much more better than any one expert doctor. Again, I am putting a simple thing. Take a case, for example, as I mentioned, a different kind of fever is coming. Now, one doctor may not be easily able to diagnose that things using all symptoms, using all tests and all those things. But if you go to the expert, as you go to the individual expert, I have just mentioned one more thing, that take example, one expert of cardiology, how many patients he can see in the whole life, or how many patients he can treat in one day, because it's a human mind, human brain, and we have that we can see. If you go to an expert, usually he see 10 or 20 patients in a day. But if you develop a computer system, develop an expert system which is containing the ideas, the rules and all the knowledge of 15 experts or more than that experts in the machine, then imagine, as you know, how we call an expert. Expert means that the person has got an experience, maybe in the area of teaching, maybe in the area of doing practice, anything. So there are different kind of rules which have been framed, and the experts are making the diagnosis based on that, the previous function, previous tools and all the experience which you have generated. Imagine if a computer system is there which is having the knowledge of many experts, and after that he is making diagnostics of some patients, definitely he will do much more better than others. And another important factor, a machine is not having the problem of like tiredness. Expert can see 10-20 patients in a day, a machine can see as many as patient, because till he is getting the power, there is no tiredness or no active problem is going to be there. So it becomes more experience, more knowledge is going to be gained, more cases are being issued by them. So that is, in a computer's terminology, knowledge base is increasing. So definitely that expert system will diagnose in a much more good way.
Thus, we can say that it is real intelligence versus the artificial intelligence, as we have already discussed that how the human brain works and how the brain sends signal to the various parts of the body, and accordingly the various parts of the body act. In the same way, can we say that yes, artificial intelligence, when we create certain machine or certain application, it works in the same way?
See, is almost working in the same way, because see, it is again created by the human brains. These machines are basically the generated, we are making the rules, we are making the frames, how it should function, and each and everything is creating by this brain. So it is just like, as we have mentioned, dendrites and all, they are making the activities, how the cells are going to perform in the brain activity, almost in the same way. Only difficulty is that we have a human mind and other kind of expert systems, and the other things we are not having. Maybe you have listened that in the computers area, different kind of almost a human have been created, except because we are not above the God that the things are not being possible, but almost all kind of activities are being created. And technically, as you have just mentioned, these all are the programmed. In a such way the program activities have been made that you can think over it also, you can take sense it also, and your experience can be stored in a way. So those experience and other activities can be helpful to taking any kind of decision, but definitely it is not a replacement of human body, human mind and all. It is totally created by the human itself. So I mean, the way you want to get it to perform, all what kind of rules and regulations, only that how the functions are being controlled, that is going to be taken by the machine, but more questions are definitely rising about what you are meant to ask.
Taking very simplest example from the area of the computer applications, for example, if a person is sending a mail to a person and then the person is sending that particular mail to thousands of people all together and the whole network is working, can we say it is an application of artificial intelligence?
No, it is not going to be the example of that. That is a different area. But see, as you mentioned, a lot of things are going to be there in that. As we have just mentioned, another very important area is robotics, which is very important playing role. As you mentioned, now there are kitchen robots are there. Now imagine you have working as a chowkidar, are working as a different kind of activities. So they have been fully trained. You rightly asked in the previous question, because machines have limitations. It may create somehow problem also. Suppose a proper programmed things have been developed and given to the robot. Due to some reason, if you are not executing things properly, it may create problem. And this kind of things have been discussed. So an important thing is that how you are controlling, how you have programmed those kind of areas, how you are applying in that particular area, these things are need to be developed. So important thing in artificial intelligence, basically the knowledge which is being used by in the different area, that is important thing. Now another important area we have just discussed about the natural languages. How just imagine that we are talking in taking help of a language. Now imagine if a machine come in front of me, or some other person who is not knowing about the language and all these things. So how do we can have a better communication? Can it be through that, like earlier people call that they can talk through their mind also. Ideal people call they have a different body languages also. So many things are going to be developed. So these are the other areas where a lot of work is going on. Another important area which we have discussed about the genetic algorithms also. These things are going to be definitely playing a very important role in the different parts of human life and all.
Definitely, man has created certain things for his benefit, and because of that benefit, he is able to create more and more. Can we say that when we create something artificially, or when we are producing something, that something reduces the time and cost also?
Definitely, all these, as we mentioned, there are different systems are going to be there. As we take the help of the robots in the industries and all, they are playing very important role. And as we know, these are the machines. Technically, if you have given the proper instructions, they will not do anything wrong. So the productions in the industry is very high because of these robots, because every time they are producing the things very much in time. And in almost all electronic industries, because the techniques are like that, which is not possible human by. So it's these machines are playing important role. So definitely the production is going to be the very high. In other areas, as we take in the area of medical science, are the major operations are being fully controlled by these kind of machines. So they are taking care of that, what kind of activity, what kind of different symptoms are being generated, what different kind of help is going to be required to the doctors, what kind of suggestions can be given to the doctors, and all these things are taking care of each, and all calculations and everything is very fast. So definitely these machines are going to be play an important role to make things very faster. It could be, it can't be said that it is going to be very cost effective. Maybe in some areas, not in all. Only with the number of volume is very high, you can say. Only then maybe the costs can be reduced. But initially, the cost is going to be high in that.
You yourself use the term search tree within the lecture. If we try to understand more about the search tree, what basically search trees are?
See, this different kind of trees and all which we have discussed. As we know, there are different kind of techniques are built. We have just given an example of game playing. Maybe you are knowing, although in a very, there are different mind games are also going to be there. You know, when you are playing cricket into the computer system, it's very simply, you look that you are playing with the computer is also playing with you. Now imagine how the things have been developed. It looks very simple. It is not a video game that you are just doing in that way. What is happening is sometimes you want that if you are putting a chess game or any other kind of different mind games are there, their rules are required to play next move. So, when you are going to take the next move, what are the rules based on that? That you have to be decided by the different parameters which are going, as you just take an example of chess. We may not be expert of that, but what is happening when you are moving one place to another? The second player, what the next move is going to be taken. You give some time to think over in the mind that if this thing will happen, then what is the next kind of activities. So, these trees are playing a very important role, these things are going to be built it, and after that not only this, there are different kind of decisions where these kind of things can be implemented. Take example, suppose you have an expert system or any kind of system developed for different kind of suggestions. You give the symptoms, you may know, be knowing that different kind of machines are going to be there. If you put the symptoms and they automatically generate something for you. So, that totally based on the certain rules which have been fed into that, taking those kind of different T and the structure and different kind of other programming activities, they interpret the thing and produce you the result accordingly.
Definitely, you have given the deep insight into the very topic, that is artificial intelligence, and we would like to tell you all that we would be conducting more lectures on this topic. But as we have a few more minutes left, I would like to ask you, though I have asked you earlier also, that we could be say that when particularly we are talking about artificial intelligence, it is like putting the right plug at the right time.
Again, you have put very rightly questions. Actually, it's a artificial intelligence need to be used in a much more big way, and still lot of research and activities are going to be there, so that things can be put in a proper order. Although lot of development has already taken place using this, many activities are being done, but still lot of things can be controlled, because it is just computer science want to replace in a one way. You can see, using the artificial intelligence, use the human brain capabilities using machine. Now, how these things are going to be developed, how much more depth techniques are required to store the knowledge. As we mentioned, robots have been developed, they have a sensing power, they have a power of thinking also little bit, the things which have been developed in time to, but they are not going beyond a certain activities, because human mind have a different kind of parallel, if you just put it parallel computing activities, which you can think different things at one time also. That kind of capabilities need to be developed in these kind of expert systems, or the robots, or the different area where these things are working. So, artificial intelligence as a tool which is going to be used to develop, not only using the computer science are one, there are different areas where these experts are being used. So, in every area, taking the help of that, how much more beneficial activity can be performed in the human body development and other kind of development, that is going to be the basically major use of artificial intelligence. We will discuss detail in about the expert system and all also in the coming lectures, but lot of things are going to be there, and lot of things need to be done to be used artificial intelligence as a tool for developing, like we have given genetic algorithms and or for long diseases. To solve the getting a problems, there are different problems which need to be solved, and use the capabilities of mind, use the capabilities of mind in a good way using the artificial, and that is the basic objective of that we are doing.
We would like to tell you all that Dr. Pandey would be again with us tomorrow, and we would be discussing more on the artificial intelligence. As Dr. Pandey said, we would be discussing in detail about the expert system. What else do we have for our students?
Exactly. We are going to discuss something more about the expert, how these kind of informations of the experts are going to be stored in an engine, and how these kind of informations can be extracted. So, certain rules, certain activities, how these knowledge based machines can be developed, knowledge base must be different kind of expert requirement of all those kinds of, these are going to be discussed in detail and will definitely come on.
Definitely we are going to get deep insight into this very topic, that is artificial intelligence. As I said earlier that Dr. Pandey would be again with us tomorrow, and we would be discussing more and future lectures also, as it is a series on artificial intelligence. And with this note we would like to take your leave, but I would like to tell you all that if you wish to access this particular lecture, you can definitely access this lecture with the help of the YouTube, as we daily upload our lectures on YouTube. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.